Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory.
Oh, the way you said the hello, Internet was so close.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory.
Can I intro it like that?
No.
Okay,
No.
fine. Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, where nerds talk about nerdy things. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glasson. As always, I'm here with my ride or die, Mr. Nick Barrett. Now, here we are on episode 102, where we will be talking about our 5-star movies on LetterBoxd and fixing them and changing them. But before we do that, I want to hear about Nick's week. So, Mr. Nick Barrett, how was your week, sir?
It was definitely a week. It's been filled with a lot of turmoil, and it was definitely one of those challenge weeks. And let me explain to you what I mean. So, like, I've been doing my nightly Bible reading. I've been doing my prayers. I'm out here. I'm single, waiting for that, that perfect Proverbs 31 woman. And I'm out here like, God, listen, I want you to help shape me into, like, the ideal man. Because I'm not there yet. So, like, I need to get there. So he took that literally this week because I'm at work Monday morning. And it was like Monday afternoon. And I'm, like, getting ready to move into my new office and stuff. And all of a sudden, I look down. There's this giant spider in my office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was huge. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So I
Time
talked
to
to
be
one of
a
my
man.
coworkers. We get the bug spray, and we're, like, spraying it. It wasn't dying, and then eventually it stopped moving, and then, like, it was pregnant, and all these little baby spiders came out, so we were, like, trying to kill all those. It was disgusting. If you have arachnophobia, I'm sorry. that I'm avoiding as many details as possible.
Yeah.
It was gross. It was scary. It was terrifying. Okay? The next day, I go back to work, and we're in the studio, and one of my other coworkers is like, hey, guys, come here. So we like, walk down the hallway, and he's like, look at this spider. You see this? This is a brown recluse. We don't want to see these. These are poisonous. And then he killed it. And I was like, oh, okay. So then yesterday, I'm getting ready to leave for work at home. I'm eating my yogurt, and I look down, and I see this little black thing out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, huh, what is that? I look over. Oh, that's another spider. But I've already experienced 2 spider killings this week. So, like, third time's the charm. Pulled out the bug spray, sprayed it, stepped on it, killed it, done. So there's definitely been some character development there. Aside from killing spiders, though,
Yeah.
it's been a pretty okay week. I haven't gotten as much time to watch or play video games as I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been doing a lot of writing, I'm finally getting back to that movie I talked about months ago. That I was writing, and I'm, like, actually making progress on it because I do want to have a rough draft of that script done by the end of the year. That's my goal. And I was getting back into doing that, and just between going to small group on Monday nights and going, like, to young adults church on Tuesdays and counseling on Thursdays, like, all this stuff, my week was really starting to fill up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to do writing Wednesday night and last night, which is Friday night, but I didn't. I just ended up, like, relaxing and watching anime, which was really nice to just take some time to not do anything and just relax.
Amen, brother.
And having that time to just be like, I'm just going to chill. Just going to watch some anime, and then I'm going to go to bed. It's going to be great. So that was nice. Now, before I throw it over to Jackson, I'm going to talk about a little bit of what I've been watching, and I bought some stuff today. Which is new. We've never really done like a haul type thing. What I've been watching, I rewatched season 1 of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and it was very sad because you watch the first season and it starts off so good with so much potential, so much light in the eyes, and then you slowly watch it get worse. I also caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen because season 2 just started. Pretty good, pretty peak so far. I also watched Jujutsu Kaisen 0 because that's the episode that you were supposed to be listening to today.
Right.
But then, as I'm sure Jackson will talk about, he got very busy and
Yes.
did not have time to watch it. So that episode has been indefinitely postponed. Will it be the next one? Will it be next year? I don't know.
Who's to say? So you enjoyed
It'll come
the
out
movie.
eventually, though.
You just kind of watched
But
it for fun.
I rewatched it, and honestly, I think the movie is a much better starting point than the actual series. They do a lot better job of explaining the power system and like the sorcery and stuff. So that was the only movie I've watched, I think. And then other than that, I just caught up on some of like the seasonal anime like Zom 100, Horimiya, catching up on that stuff because I was behind.
Woo.
Other than that, I will now go over. Actually, you know what? I want to make you guys wait. I'm gonna let Jackson tell me about his week, what he's been watching.
I have to know. I have to know.
And then we'll talk about
Dang.
what I bought. Just don't let me forget, because I don't want
I
to leave
won't
him
let
on
you
a-
forget. Don't
I don't
worry.
want to leave him on a cliffhanger.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now to know what you bought. All right. So my week was pretty good. It was just one of those stupid busy weeks. School's kind of back in full swing. And so it was like, oh, yeah, we have like this brand proposal to have it ready by Thursday. I'm taking a lot of great classes right now, and I'm learning good stuff. It's great stuff. It's just a lot. And so it's like brand proposal by Thursday, but also for that same class, have 15 discussion questions ready. Also for another class, do like this 1-page thing and have that ready. But also be ready for this test on Thursday and this, that. And it's just like, oh, okay. This is kind of a lot because I also have a job and a podcast. And so, anywho, so I didn't end up getting to watch the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, which was the original plan. That's the episode we were going to do. But Nick came up with this great idea, and I'm very happy to be here. What I've been watching, I've not been watching a lot of TV. I kind of wanted like a TV show to get into. And so I started watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is an adult show. I talked about it a little bit. And I got through the first season, and I'm just kind of like not really thrilled anymore. It's a sense of humor that is really funny. And I really love the humor in It's Always Sunny. But it's almost like so deprived that I can't watch consistently. Like there were some, like I would have to split up my viewings. Like I would watch 3 episodes in a row and then just feel like trash. Because I was like, the entire point of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is they're horrible people that do horrible things, and then they sometimes face consequences, sometimes not. It's kind of like if Seinfeld wasn't supposed to be funny. And so that's kind of my pitch, where if you're into that, cool. I think it's really funny. It's just it's a little much. And there's also like 16 seasons. And so I'm just like not super encouraged to keep going. So a couple shows I might start soon. I might start How I Met Your Mother. I've never seen that. I kind of want to rewatch Parks and Rec because it's been a long time. I thought about, everyone tells me to get into Psych, which I'm sure I would like, but I just haven't found the time. So
you know what you could watch?
What?
You could finally finish Gravity Falls.
Oh, that's so true. That's actually a good idea. As the seasons change, let me tell you, my TV watching goes up when it gets to like cozy fall season because that's all I want to do.
It's been so long since you started it, and you've never finished it.
I almost feel like I need to start over, or at least go back a little bit.
I'm about to rewatch it because our Disney Plus expires in November. We're not renewing it, so I'm going through like rewatching Star. I'm about to rewatch the Clone Wars. I watched Rebels. Listen.
Yeah.
I know Ahsoka is airing right now, and I was gonna watch it just so I could have an opinion.
Yeah.
And because I really love Ahsoka, she's my favorite Star Wars character. And then I saw a clip on Twitter this week from episode 3 where she's outside of a ship with a spacesuit on, cutting down TIE fighters with lightsabers. Does that sound cool? It does.
Yeah.
Until it's in live action, and then it looks really bad.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it, and I was like, look how they've massacred my girl. Like, She's fallen so far. Disney, you took a perfectly good thing and then ruined it and made it worse, which seems to be the catch-22 of being owned by Disney.
Right. They can't let you rest. You have to just... They will run IPs into the ground.
They will defile your grave if it means they can make more money.
What's that SpongeBob meme where he's like, man, am I really going to dig up this grave for money?
Yes.
Of course I am. And then he just starts digging. So, yeah. I don't know. You haven't seen it yet. I don't know if that's a valid opinion until you watch the actual show.
I'll probably end up watching it.
Yeah.
It's just... Man,
I understand.
I can't. Loki's about to start next month, so that's really cool.
I'm excited for Loki. I'm going for that.
That's going to be good, hopefully. Please.
Please, Lord have mercy. So, yeah, I did that. I watched Inside Out just because I needed a movie to fall asleep to. I didn't end up falling asleep. I stayed awake the whole time and cried. So that's cool.
I feel that.
It's a good movie. And then I also, for the first time, I watched the movie Blazing Saddles, which is an old Mel Brooks movie, which Mel Brooks movies are good. They're just a sense of humor that doesn't always hit with me. Because I feel like a Mel Brooks movie, it's either like, ha ha ha, this is amazing, I'm laughing so hard, like crying. And then it's another like 10 minutes of like, haha, yeah, all right. And then it's another 10 minutes, like it just goes back and forth. You're like, it's either like really, really good or like, okay, cool, I'm entertained. But like, so, I don't know. I watched that. I also watched, this is a really cool experience. I watched The Empire Strikes Back on Laserdisc.
Oh, yeah, you sent me a video of that. That looked really cool.
It was amazing. So we all got together as a big group and we had this Laserdisc player from the university and it was broken and like the tray wouldn't come out. So we got a screwdriver and we popped off the top and we're like, all right, let's take a look under the hood. So we like unscrewed a couple things, took it out, and eventually got it out and put it in, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was like you could see the scan lines like going up the whole time, and like the audio was kind of trash, and I loved it. And so it was just kind of eventually. Here's what's interesting: is Laserdisc, you have to flip it over like a vinyl record. Halfway through the movie, it just cuts. It stops, and you have to go and flip it to the other side to keep watching.
Oh,
and then it just picks up right where it left off, and it's so interesting. And
that's weird.
Laserdiscs predated VHS. So they were before VHS, and they were like one of the first forms of like take-home media. But then they upgraded to VHS, which ironically could hold less footage than a Laserdisc, but it was way more compact and could go in a VHS player. So that's a little history lesson for you. That's
VCR?
Kind of
Sir?
a VCR.
Is what they're called?
My bad.
You claim to be a fan of physical media, but you don't know why it's called a VCR?
Sorry, I was going to say VCR, but I was like, that can't be right. Like, I don't want to sound like an idiot.
Video
and then I ended up
cassette,
sounding like an idiot. Video cassette recorder.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, you should
I
Google
need to know.
So,
you know what's really weird is
what?
You and I are old enough to remember using VHS, right?
You're right.
But my sister, who's younger than me, is not.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know. I mean, she knows what a VHS is, but she never had to use one.
Yep.
She's barely familiar with the concept of a library, doesn't know Blockbuster at all. And it's like, we're not that far apart in age.
Right. No,
so it's
there was
really weird that
there was like a really quick shift.
It was instantaneous from VHS to DVD, Netflix, streaming, and now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, I'm going to find out what VCR means, and then we need to talk about how we saved...
we saved
Disney DVDs.
I'm also going to... While you're looking that up, I'm going to say that fixing that Laserdisc player, putting the Laserdisc in, closing it, watching it start to spin, and then having it come on the TV was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. And I just want to say, if I had plugged my computer in or turned on a smart TV and searched Empire Strikes Back on Disney Plus and watched this restored 4K version with a ton of CG, I would not have felt that. I had a satisfaction of physically going and fixing the player so that this giant disc could go in the tray. Was it horribly inconvenient? In theory, but we had such a good time like fixing it and looking at how it worked and all this stuff. So don't discard physical media because it's satisfying and it is fulfilling. That's what I will say.
Right.
There you
Which
go.
I'm going to come back to that. VCR stands for video cassette recorder.
That's what
So
I
we were
said. Let's
correct.
go. I honestly forgot VHS is technically a video cassette.
Yeah.
All right.
So we saved Disney DVDs.
Yeah, so essentially we saved Disney DVDs. You're welcome, America.
Do you want to explain, since it was your video?
Yeah, so I did a
that
video
saved Disney DVDs?
on the YouTube channel, and it was about essentially just like, hey, Disney isn't going to be releasing DVDs in Australia and New Zealand, places like that. They were like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be the last Blu-ray DVD we're making because like people aren't buying them. Essentially, for money reasons, they were gonna stop doing physical media. And I did a video on the YouTube channel about it. You can go watch it if you want. And I kind of brought up the point. I was like, what about streaming originals? Like, if Disney Plus tanks in 2 years, where do all the originals go? And do they go to a third party? Do they get bought out by the highest bidder? Like, are they just gone forever? So, but this week, Disney announced they're doing steelbook collections of their original series. So, The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, WandaVision, Loki, is that it?
And that's it. It was just
WandaVision
those
and
three
Loki. Yeah.
for now.
So the WandaVision, Loki, and the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian are all getting steelbooks. Literally 7 days later. So
7 days later. Literally. To the day.
I'm just saying.
Like,
I'm
not
just
the
saying.
next week. Like, the following Monday, they announced it.
Exactly 7 days later.
Did we have anything to do with it? Probably
Yeah.
not. This is probably something they've
Probably
been
not.
planning for months. But I like to believe, like, coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
Which,
I mean,
I do have a follow-up video going out that will be out
at
soon.
some point. Yeah.
It just got a little lost in editing, and it's
That's
not
okay.
The way I worked it is it's not super time sensitive. The topic is like the conversation.
It's gonna stay
which is
relevant.
kind of the conversation I think we are about to have anyway. But still, go watch the video. This is a good thing. This is a win for everyone. It's a win for Disney because they get more money. It's a win for us because we now have a way to physically, legally obtain these series outside of
legally.
Disney Plus. Keyword is legally, by the way. Piracy is illegal. I don't care how you want to justify it. Like,
Listen.
well, I want to stick it to the man. I don't want to pay Disney. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's still illegal.
Yeah. That is what I'll say is on that video, there was a lot of comments from a lot of people that I'm going to be screenshotting and sending to the government. It's just like, why don't you just pirate it? And I'm like, because piracy is not a victimless crime. Have you not seen
have you never
the
plugged in
DVD
a
intros? Would you steal a car? So
Well,
that's
I don't
what I'm
know. If they
saying.
really wanted to stick it to Ford, they might.
I love
depends.
this old. Do you remember that old like anti-piracy thing at the beginning of the DVDs where they're like at the CD store and they're like talking to the kids are like, he's not gonna do it. He's like, oh, you're only cool if you do it. He literally says, he's like, you're not gonna be in our group if you don't do it. And then he like puts the CD back and they're like, good job, buddy. And it's like, piracy is not a victimless crime.
Dude.
Dude.
I really don't like the piracy argument because it comes from, like, the most I've seen it is in the anime sphere where people are like, well, Crunchyroll doesn't have every anime that I want to watch, so I'm gonna pirate. Or, like, I know someone who's like, yeah, Crunchyroll doesn't have every anime I watch, plus I can't really afford it, so I'm just gonna pirate because it's free. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you skipped one meal out a month, you'd have your $10 for Crunchyroll. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. Now, if you get
Right.
into like some of the like Disney Plus, Max, whatever, where they're
Right.
like close to $20 a month, okay, that's different. Or even like High Dive is $50 for a year. So like just like set aside like $5 out of every paycheck or $10 out of
Right.
every paycheck, and then bam, you got anime for a year. So like
Right.
it's
If you legitimately cannot afford it, then like, yeah, that's super hard. I'm so sorry. But all of the people that are making this argument are the people that just don't want to. It's not that they can't. They just don't want to.
it's a choice.
So,
It's an illegal choice.
ooh.
I do want to get your comment on these Blu-rays. They're $55 a pop. Do you feel like that's a fair price, or do you think that's overcharging?
Is that not a pretty standard price for a steelbook though?
It's a pretty standard price for TV shows. So
Yeah.
like, I have season 1 of Demon Slayer is $35, and that's just for the Blu-ray. Now, I think the one thing that people are kind of overlooking is there's not a lot of actual content on those DVDs.
Yeah.
Like, for $110 for both of the Mandalorian ones, you're only getting 16 episodes. So it's
Yeah.
not a lot of actual content, but if you look at $55, you consider the average is usually 35 for, I mean, Demon Slayer was half a season, but that's pretty comparable to the 8 episodes that are on there. And then you factor in steelbooks are usually more expensive, and the Disney tax, I think you get pretty close to $55. I would have had more of an issue if they were closer to like 60, 70. And they were trying to justify that.
Yeah.
But I think it's
I
okay because
feel
the
like-
steelbook art looks really good, and they have these little like collectible cards in them too. So it's
Yeah, between the really cool cover art, because like, let's be real, DVD cover art is on a decline. Disney's doing this really crappy cover art where they're like, oh, the Little Mermaid, but it's just like a solid gray background with the text and then flounder on the thing. And I'm like, I don't want
an
that.
Arial.png on the
Right,
front.
that's crap. I don't want that garbage. And so, really good steelbook art. That's awesome. The fact that it's a steelbook is just like, because they know it's for the collectors. They know that like your mom isn't going to go buy this on Amazon. Like, this is for people like us who want to physically own it.
Right.
And so steelbook was a great idea, because people that want to physically own it want they want the steelbook. They want the Blu-ray, the highest quality type. That was a really smart move. It's Blu-ray, it's a steelbook, it's really good art, it's cards, honestly, if you do 16 episodes, average of like 40 minutes an episode, that's like 10 hours of content, which in theory doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm also like, it's more about the content itself than the length of the content, because no one is going to say, well, if it was $50 for 25 hours of The Mandalorian content, I would do it. But it's like, no, it's The Mandalorian, and I want to watch The Mandalorian, so I'm going to pay for it.
Right.
And so I was shocked at the price at first, because I was like, oh, wow, feels like a lot. But I've kind of made my peace with it. It's kind of, I feel like beggars can't be choosers, and it's like, I'm just glad that it's physical. That's pretty much my only comment.
I saw the price and I was shocked because it was a lot less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be closer to that 70, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, don't do this to me.
Here we go.
Also, guys, don't complain too much. I have all 4 of them on my Amazon list right now because I am going to get them all.
Yeah.
Whether or not I get them all the day they come out, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
get
yet.
the WandaVision one.
I know you're going to get the WandaVision one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like your show.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them all for 2 reasons. One being these are all my favorite Disney Plus shows. Like, of the originals that were released, these 3 are easily my favorite. And I don't think I've really enjoyed any of the other ones as much.
Right.
But also, reason number 2 is I want to support the physical media. Like, we can sit here on this podcast and like preach and preach and preach. You should buy physical media. You should buy movies, books, games, all physical, because you got to do the preservation, and then not do it ourselves. Like, that's very hypocritical.
Right.
So I want to do like the practice what you preach. I also want to support them so they do well. So Disney sees that it's okay to take your original shows and put them on a steelbook, even if it's like a limited run, and they for a year they do it, and then they just stop doing it. Even if it's for that limited run,
producing them,
there's still a physical. Like, I can't walk into Target or Best Buy right now and buy Stranger Things, but I know they put it on DVD.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's out there floating around really helps with preservation, and I hope it does well so that it shows Disney that they can do more, because come on, Disney, I really want that Clone Wars Season 7 steelbook, because otherwise it will be trapped on Disney Plus forever. But I also hope that it shows other streaming sites that it's okay to do the same thing.
Right.
Because I'd love to see a steelbook of Inside bundled with the outtakes, or Only Murders in the Building would be a great one, or My Adventures with Superman from Max. Like, there's all these great shows that you can, like, it's okay if they're original for a while. Like, The Mandalorian, like, all of these have been exclusive on Disney Plus
years ago.
Years? So it's okay to now do a physical release.
Right.
So please go buy them so we can get more. If your favorite show is Book of Boba Fett, you better go buy The Mandalorian. Otherwise, it's not happening. And if your favorite show is Book of Boba Fett, I'm not going to judge.
You know, I'm not
going to judge.
I'm not saying I'm going to judge you, but they will, and they should. So
I'm also pretty sure they either announced or talked about there being one for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which means they have more planned. I just think they're waiting to see how these first 4 go.
Yeah, I feel like they really chose the right shows to start out with. Mandalorian season 1 or 2 are phenomenal. Loki and WandaVision, phenomenal. These are like the OG Disney Plus shows when we were like, Disney Plus will never die. This is incredible. And now we're kind of
how naive we were.
And now we're like, Secret, I kid you not. Have you seen the Rotten Tomato scores for Secret Invasion?
Yeah. They're awful.
The last episode of Secret Invasion has, I think, a 7 out of 100 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's rough.
Isn't that tragic?
Marvel is dying.
That is brutal.
Bro. It's over.
In a similar vein, I haven't gone and seen it, but a lot of people are going to see Blue Beetle and saying that it's really good.
I'll be honest. I've been on a subscription purge recently. We're canceling Disney Plus in November. My HBO Max just canceled yesterday, and I canceled my Regal Unlimited because there's not a ton of movies coming out that I want to go see. There's a couple, like there's The Creator, which looks really good. It's by Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One, and it looks like Fox, which is owned by Disney. So like Disney just gave him money to go make another Rogue One, which is fine because I loved Rogue One. It was great.
I feel like we need more non-franchise sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
like
we need more.
Let's get out there. Why not?
More Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
Sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that, and then the only other one I can think of is FNAF, which we're planning on seeing that together anyway. And I wasn't going to be able to use Regal Unlimited for that, so there's no point in paying the $25 a month.
I cannot tell you how excited I am for that movie.
Dude.
It's
going to be great.
I feel like I'm more excited because we get to watch it together.
This is the first movie we're ever going to get to see together in the theater.
We've never seen a movie in the theater together, which is so wild. Like, that's crazy. Man. Anyway, that's exciting. But I've heard a lot of people say that, like, Blue Beetle is essentially DC Ant-Man, which
I saw that video specifically.
I struggle with that just because there's no Ant-Man without Paul Rudd in my brain, and so I can't picture that. Like, there is, like, Ant-Man is Paul Rudd in my mind, And I don't know of another actor that could capture the energy. And so when they compare it like that, it rubs me the wrong way. But all the critic scores and the audience scores are very good. And I've talked to people that have seen it, and they're like, I was pretty surprised. And a lot of what I've seen looks pretty good. And I know that they built him a real suit and said that they only used CG when necessary and when needed. And I was like, oh.
That's how they did the first couple Iron Man
kind of
movies.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, that's kind of brilliant. It's also an origin story, and so it's not like trying to like build this ginormous cinematic universe that's like going to come to fruition in 22 years, and we're gonna have to like watch 3 other things to. So I don't know.
Which, I don't know if this is a hot take. Can we like? Are we done with cinematic universes? Like, can we be done? Can we stop that as a trend of like everything needs to be connected? Like, I know DC is going through their like, oh, we're gonna reboot everything.
Yeah.
Because the last DCEU didn't go very well, and now Star Wars is trying to do the whole connected universe thing, which I'd argue it's always been that way, but now that it's Disney controlled, they're forcing it a lot more.
They're very intentional about.
Yeah. They have that Dave Filoni Mandoverse where it's like Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, like all this stuff kind of coming together. Everything in between episode 6 and episode 7. And I'm like, okay, first of all, this is the conversation for a whole different episode. Maybe we could talk about, I don't know, what comes before episode 1, or maybe, I don't know, what comes between episode 3 and 4, or maybe, I don't know, what comes after episode 9. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe we don't need to fill in every gap.
Maybe we should just leave some of it open.
Well,
yeah.
I did hear they said that Dave Filoni is confirmed to be doing a Star Wars movie. He is doing a movie. And they say, and I'm not mad about this, they say instead of doing another season of Mandalorian and everything, he said that Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka will all wrap up with one movie. That will
Here's
go
the
to
problem.
theaters.
You know what's included in the Mandoverse now? Star Wars Rebels, which by extension includes Star Wars The Clone Wars, which by extension includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now everything is kind of just the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
If you look at by extension of who's in this thing. Now, because like Ahsoka connects back to Rebels, which connects back to the Clone Wars, which connects to the first 3 movies, which also connect to the next 3 movies. And
so, like, saying the Mandoverse isn't even fair. It's just Star Wars.
It's just Star Wars.
Like, it's all connected. Duh. That was the point.
But the problem is, and the problem I see them running into is they try to do this thing. And what made The Mandalorian Season 1 so good is it had nothing to do with Jedi, had nothing to do with the Force, had nothing to do with the Skywalkers. It was completely different and separate.
It was just unbiased
And then Season
media.
2 comes around. And now we got Ahsoka. We got Luke Skywalker. Book of Boba Fett. We got Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker again. Season 3. We got Luke Skywalker in there somewhere. Like, they took the cool novelty of The Mandalorian being its own separate thing, disconnected. Because for a galaxy and a universe that is supposed to be so big, we've really only focused on one family and their close friends.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's so much out there. Like Andor.
Yeah.
Andor and Rogue One is a great example. They have nothing to do with the overarching Skywalker saga plot. Yes, it takes place during the rise of the Empire. Yes, it takes place with the Death Star, which we know how that plays out in Episode 4. But it has nothing to do with anything. And it's great because it's disconnected. It's one of the reasons I like Solo. It's because it's another one of those disconnected projects that still fits in the grander narrative, but you don't feel like you're missing anything if you don't see it.
Yeah. I feel like Andor is revered as probably... Would you say Andor is revered as the best Star Wars show on Disney Plus? Or...
I think, okay. I'm
not
gonna
including the Clone Wars. Clone Wars doesn't count because it's only the last season was Disney Plus. So if you... So your 2 options are The Mandalorian and Andor. Personally, I think because of season 3 of The Mandalorian doing so poorly... I think generally in the public, Andor is seen as the best Disney Plus Star Wars show.
See, That's so hard, though, because The Mandalorian has had more time to do more. Because if this were Mando Season 1 versus Andor Season 1, I think it would be a lot more difficult of a conversation.
It'd be really hard.
But because we've had this kind of slow decline with The Mandalorian over the last 2 seasons, it's a lot easier to say, oh, well, I'd pick Andor because it hasn't had that time to fall off yet. Not saying it will. I haven't finished the first season. I think I've seen like the first 3 episodes. I'm going to finish it before our Disney Plus expires because I meant to finish it last year and I never got around to it. And I've heard it's really good. Mm-hmm. And I'm dying for this really good Star Wars content. I need it injected in my veins.
Watching Empire Strikes Back this week made me realize, I was like, oh yeah, Star Wars is a thing. Like, do you ever
Star
have
Wars
that,
used to be good.
do you have that realization? You're like, Star Wars is not only Star Wars a thing, but there is good Star Wars that I can go watch and have access to. Like, I keep forgetting that. And I need to go watch season 2 of Visions. And here's the thing. I need a new show to start. Who's to say I don't just jump on the Clone Wars? Because I've never seen it.
Please.
Who's to say I don't?
No, here's the thing. You watch the Clone Wars. I'll start rewatching the Clone Wars.
Stop.
We can watch it together. Because I'm going to rewatch it anyway. I'm telling you, you got to get through the first 2 seasons. It's rough. But seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, actually, let me correct that. 3, 4, 5, and 7 are chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Top tier, peak fiction.
Yeah.
Okay? It's so good. I promise.
Since I'm going to Disney next year, I feel like I need like the full context. Like, I feel like I would appreciate Galaxy's Edge more.
I would disagree. Galaxy's Edge is a lot more rooted in the sequel trilogy than anything else. So I don't feel like the Clone Wars adds or takes away anything from Galaxy's Edge.
But I would also argue
just because
that
it's a prequel trilogy show.
Which I would argue that even just being in Star Wars mind, just being in Star Wars content makes me appreciate Galaxy's Edge more. Like,
Speaking
if I'm
of
just
going to
in
Disney,
Star Wars mind.
Are you going to build a lightsaber while you're there?
How much is it exactly?
Okay, wait. Let me ask you this question. Are you flying or driving?
Driving.
You got to do it. Because you've told me every time we've gone, and I said you should do it. You said, oh, well, I'm flying, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to take it through TSA. You should do it.
How much is it?
It's $200. But, let me tell you, it's a worthwhile $200. As someone who's done it, I would pay $200 to do it again. Because the experience of, like, building yours, I still have mine. It's right up there on the shelf.
Yeah.
Well, one, you get the hilt, a blade, and a crystal to go inside. Mm-hmm. Which, if you were to buy all of those things separately at the shop, it comes out to about $200.
Okay.
Depending on which
what
one you get. Because all the character ones are priced differently. But $200, you get the lightsaber, the blade, and the crystal. But on top of that, you get a cool little pin. Because there's like the 4 different sets that you can choose from. You get a cool little pin from that. You get a carrying case. And you get a really sick experience. Like,
it is an experience. And you get to just keep it. The experience
of going in and getting the pieces put in front of you and customizing it however you want.
Yeah.
And then, like, when you get to turn it on and dude, I promise, if you come back after that trip and do it and tell me it's not a worthwhile experience, I will pay you the $200. Like I promise.
Sounds like I should not have a worthwhile experience and get a free lightsaber.
No, you have to make a good case.
That's
you
fair.
can't just say, "Well, I didn't like it."
I didn't like it.
I'll make Amy record all of it so I can tell on your face if you enjoy it or not.
I don't know, because I wasn't interested in one until I played with someone else's. And then
that's how it always is.
Right,
you
that's
never
always how it
care
happens.
until you have it in your hand and you're like,
Because Gavin got one for his birthday. Like, a friend just straight up gave him like one of the custom ones, like, just phenomenal. And so he was like, here, mess around with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a freaking Jedi right now, dude.
It's so
like,
addicting,
this is
right?
crazy. So, oh man, I might. I need to start setting aside money for while I'm there. Cause
you should do it and then show us on the episode.
Lightsaber review. Disney Hall. When I come back from Disney, guys,
Disney Hall.
you do
Dude,
a Disney
you gotta
Hall.
do it. Speaking of Hall, great transition.
Great transition.
This stuff that I bought at Books A Million today.
Yes,
and then we'll get into the
exactly.
main topic
All right.
40 minutes into the episode. So,
Yeah,
I went to
happens
Books A
to the best
Million,
of us.
picked up some great stuff. First
All
thing
right,
I
let me
picked
see.
up was this Deku Funko Pop where he's got like his new Black Whip power. What's funny is I didn't even know this existed. Like, usually I'm pretty good at keeping up with new Funko releases. And I didn't know this existed. I was in Books A Million. I saw it on the shelf. I was like, a new Deku figure that I didn't know about? What? So,
Who was going to tell me?
to keep on theme, because I had a coupon to use for, I think it was like $5 off when you spend $25 or more, I got volume 34 of My Hero Academia. It's time for Jackson to be real.
Hey, just continue. I'm just taking the B reel real quick.
I got volume 34 of the manga, which I'm only missing a couple volumes to have everything caught up. But then I also got volume 35, which has this freaking amazing cover that, honestly, might be one of my favorite favorite
Not
manga
album.
covers.
Whoa.
At some point in the future, I'm planning, once I get my new computer, I'm planning a bunch of tier list live streams where you guys can just
Ooh.
come hang out, and I'm going to do like, I'm going to rank every Star Wars show in a serialized list, because I've been meaning to do it, but I think it'd be more fun to do it on a live stream. And another one I want to do is ranking all of the My Hero volume covers. So-
Like the artwork.
Yeah, like the manga covers.
That'd be fun.
Because at the very least I've seen them all, and I can rate them. I don't own them all, but I've seen them all. So that's what I got today. Very good. This Deku is going in my office, so unfortunately you won't be able to see him in the background. Not that you can really see what's in the background
Right.
anyway,
That's okay.
but
Good haul.
It is what
Good
it is.
haul.
yeah, I need to stop spending money though.
That's okay.
I need to save it. Also, I went to Target and I saw that
Oh.
the Disney film camera Lego set.
Oh.
It's real.
Is it out?
Yeah, it came out
For
September
Rizzle?
1st.
Oh,
I almost
gotta
bought
tell
it.
my
I
mom.
thought about it, but then I was like, I don't have anywhere to put it. I'm just gonna ask for it for Christmas.
My mom told me, she was like, "Oh, don't buy it. I gotta get it. I gotta get a good Christmas gift for you." And I was like, "I mean, I'll wait and save the money."
Yeah, I
Um,
need to start. I need to stop spending money and just start putting my Christmas list together.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
now, if
that's how you get them.
If you want to do your own haul, then you can go to thenerdiestpodcast.com and look at our available merch, which, if you're watching the video, Mr. Nick Barrett is sporting right now. We have shirts, hats, jackets, stickers, all kinds of amazing designs in amazing colors that you can choose your favorite, and all the money goes to help support us and the show. So, anyway, that little plug out of the way. Today, we're talking about 5-star movies. Nick, would you like to share?
Okay, so I'm totally stealing this idea from another podcast. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Because what's the best way? Like, listen, you listen to another podcast, you think they did a really good idea, you should also do it. It's not like it was their original idea.
Right, they stole it from someone else.
Who did they steal it from? So, the concept of fixing our favorite movies. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through our 5-star movies on LetterBoxd that we've rated 5 stars, and we can either fix something about them, or if we feel like it's already a really perfect movie, you can pass. Because there's some, like, I'll say the Lego movie is one of my 5 stars. I don't have anything I'd change about that movie. That to me is a perfect movie. So if we feel like it's perfect, then we can pass. But I'll also say the other person can, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, interject and say
Okay.
something they'd fix about
Say,
the movie.
no, I would
If
change
you've seen
this.
it. If you haven't seen it, you can't say anything. You have to have seen it.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense. I respect that.
Do you want to start since you have like 4 times the number of 5-star movies?
Here's the thing. I recently had to decide what I considered 5 stars meant. And
By recently, he means before we pressed record.
Before we pressed record. So 5 stars. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And because I'm one to give out 5 stars pretty generously. I'm sorry. Just be like, oh, it was amazing. 5 stars. When in reality, like 5 stars should be reserved for like perfect movie. Like I would not change anything about this movie. And so I originally had, what was it? Like 84. So I had 84 5-star movies. And on my LetterBoxd logged. And it's a little embarrassing, but that's okay. I got it down to 51. 51. And so there's a lot of them I'm going to skip just because we don't have time to go through 51 movies. And it's things like Coco. Like, I think Coco's a 5-star movie. But I don't really have a lot to say. So, first 5-star movie on my list. Return of the Jedi. What would we change about Return of the Jedi?
See, here's the thing. I think Return of the Jedi is a really good movie.
Yeah.
What would I change? I think I'd shorten the part at the beginning. Like rescuing Han from
Jabba's palace.
Jabba. I feel like it's good, and I think it's entertaining, but it's a little long.
It doesn't get to the point
And I think I'd
fast
shorten
enough.
it down. Because they do like, okay, well, 3PO and R2 are here. And then like 10 minutes later, now Leia and Chewbacca are here.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 minutes later, now Luke is here.
Right.
Like we should have just
It's a
really
lot of
sped it
setup.
along, said that everyone was already there except for Luke, and started with Luke getting there.
Yeah.
And then gone through it. Like you could have had Leia disguised as a bounty hunter already there. And then you still have that scene where she's like trying to set him free. And then Luke shows up. Yada, yada, yada.
It's great.
I think that's fine. Also, I don't think it's a 5-star movie.
Return of the Jedi?
Personally, I think there's only 2 5-star Star Wars movies, and they're both on my list, and we'll get to them.
I think
there's only 2.
Return of the Jedi is my favorite original trilogy movie. And which I know a lot of people are like, but Empire Strikes Back, this, that. I like Return of the Jedi better. I enjoy it more. I enjoy the story more. I like that it wraps everything up really well. I love Endor. That's my favorite planet. So that's kind of my opinion. I'm going to do a couple more just because these will be quicker and you have less than I do.
I have 29.
Okay. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Personally, this is a 5-star movie for me because I have to watch it every year. And so that alone, and I enjoy it every time. Here's the thing. This is a Chevy Chase thing. All of the family vacation, air quote, movies are like this. There are some skippable scenes that everyone knows to skip. And if everyone skips the scene, then it doesn't need to be there.
And I think we take it out.
So, take out him at the mall, and then take out him with the pool. That's all you need. Just that one scene of him at the mall, and then the one scene about him fantasizing about the pool. Because they're super, over-sexualized for no reason. It has no place, in this family Christmas movie. And outside of that, the movie's, decently clean. It's, there's some language here and there, but, and some crude humor. But other than that, it's just a great movie. And so, I watch it every year, and I love it. But, bro, just those 2 scenes? Are you friggin' for real?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll do one more. Jurassic Park.
Wow, that's a 5-star movie for you?
Yeah. Is it not for you?
No, I think I gave it 4.5.
Dude.
I'll have you know, I don't hand out 5 stars as religiously as you do.
But Jurassic
the movie
Park?
really has to do something for me.
Yeah.
For me to give it a 5-star.
Jurassic Park
They're
did
also
something for me.
The movies that I would unconditionally turn on at any point in time. And Jurassic Park is not one of those movies. I feel like I gotta be in a specific mood to watch Jurassic Park.
You see, I also hand out 5 stars to movies that I appreciate. Where I'm like, even though I wouldn't like Everything Everywhere All at Once is 5 stars on my LetterBoxd. I cannot turn that movie on just whenever. But I really appreciate what it did and what it does and how impressive it is. So I'm like, okay, objective 5 star for that one. Jurassic Park, dude, I don't have anything to change. I really don't. I think Jurassic Park is, I think it's, do I dare say Jurassic Park is a perfect movie? I think story-wise, Jurassic Park is one of the best movies ever made.
I know what I would change about it.
What would you change about it?
I would make it a lot darker, like the original novel.
Yeah.
Like, really lean into that. Because I don't remember if we talked about. I think we talked about it on our Jurassic Park-tacular we did last year. I think there's definitely an audience for a Jurassic Park movie, but it's a horror movie.
Right, like R-rated. Like
rated R, blood and guts everywhere, like really lean into dinosaurs being these really
those vicious
savage creatures.
Yeah.
Like, lean into that. Make it a horror. Like, they try to do that in Jurassic Park, where they're like, ooh, the raptors are hiding in the power station. Yeah. Or, like, they're really scary and you don't see them till, like, halfway through the movie.
Right.
Okay, lean into that. Like, make it a little scarier. I know that's not the direction they were trying to go with Jurassic Park and any of the subsequent movies, but I do think
it would be lit.
That's what I would fix, is I would lean into it a little more.
And you have movies like Cocaine Bear that show that there's an audience for that.
Cocaine Dinosaur.
Dinosaur. That's what I'm saying.
That's the next Jurassic World movie. It's just Cocaine T-Rex. Oh. Which, listen, Colin Trevorrow, you want some free work.
Listen, that's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Now you can
take
that one.
What happens if we drop
free?
Some cocaine in the raptor paddock? Ooh.
Oh, Velocipaster.
Dude, can't believe that movie got made.
All right, you go ahead. I'm interested to see how this goes. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let me pull up my 5 stars here. Nope, that's Amazon. Okay. My first 5 star is Kaguya-sama Love is War, the First Kiss That Never Ends. Perfect movie. I got nothing to change.
I knew that
it's
this
Love
would
is
happen.
War. It's peak fiction. Okay.
I knew that this would happen.
I'm just kidding.
It'd be some
the one
dumb
thing I would
anime
change.
movie I've never seen.
What are you talking about? It's Love is War. You know this.
I love Love is War. I've never seen the movie.
You haven't seen it. You know it though.
I mean, sure.
Here's what I'll say. Is the one thing I would change is I would make the movie a little longer, because for those who have read the manga arc,
that's rare.
You know that there's a little bit more that I got to the end, and I was kind of sad that it wasn't in there, because the movie really focuses on Kaguya and Shirogane and their relationship and how it's evolved up to this point, but it takes place over Christmas and New Year's. And everyone else in the student council goes on and has their own Christmas and New Year's. And we kind of get little flashes of it. But then at the end, when everyone goes back to school, we get a recap. You know, because like you go back to school, tell all your friends what you did type thing. And they didn't include that in the movie. And I'm kind of worried because we haven't heard anything official on a season 4. And I'm really worried it'll get stuck. Because this is the longest any romance anime has ever gone. And, you know, maybe they're cooking season 4 and they're just going to announce it out of nowhere and be like, by the way, here it is. But I would have gone a little farther just to include that recap stuff so that it felt a little more complete. Because there's some stuff like they leave you on the cliffhanger, but it didn't feel complete. So that's what I would change about that movie. Love it, though. Still love
that stuff.
Still a 5-star to me.
I put that stuff on everything.
I guess do you want me to do one at a time until you whittle down your list?
You can go one more. You can go 2 at a time for now.
Okay, so my next one
I'm still whittling down my list, though. Like, I'm currently working on it.
My next one is Bo Burnham, the Inside Outtakes.
Oh, the Outtakes.
I don't know why it listed the Outtakes before Inside. But the Inside Outtakes is it's good.
Because it's just inside, but more. It's just more inside.
Right. It's inside, but more. but it felt like it had less rhyme or reason than the original, which I know, because it's the outtakes, like it's just the stuff he didn't use. But there's also some stuff, if you look at the way it's put together, it doesn't seem like it's just outtakes. It was very clearly like he actually may have done some new stuff.
Right, like
just
he
for that.
intentionally put it together in a very certain
Right, like
way.
he knew when doing Inside, he was going to do the outtakes. So he
Right.
shot things in a certain way. So I just
Yeah.
wish it had a little more rhyme or reason to it and didn't feel so much as just like the equivalent of a YouTube bloopers video where you just throw all your footage together, make sure it transitions clean, and then export it, and it's done.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Okay, I never
Those are my
actually
first
watched
two.
the full outtakes. I just watched. I watched like "The Chicken" is one of my favorite songs ever written by him.
so good.
But I never like that's one of the only few. And then "Microwave Popcorn" is a banger.
See,
Doesn't
Inside got a physical CD release. Why can't it have a physical Blu-ray?
I have the vinyl. I have the vinyl over here, and the vinyl is phenomenal. And so, yeah, that's a good thought. So, all right, ready?
Yep.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
I've got nothing to say. I've seen it, but it's been so long since I've seen it.
I think the first. Listen, you guys can come after me. I've seen 5 of the 8 Harry Potter movies. The first
Wait,
5.
you haven't seen them all?
Nope.
Oh.
I've
didn't
only
know that.
seen 5. Because here's the story. Growing up, my mom said you can either read all the books or move out before you watch the movies. So, kid you not, that's what she said. And so she was like, while you live in my house, you will read the books before the movies. And so I read the first 4 books, and I loved them. But then when I got to Order of the Phoenix, it got really boring because there's so much exhibition and just stuff that didn't need to be there. And that book is like pretty dumpy thick. So
Yeah.
that's a lot for like 14-year-old me. So I just kind of like lost interest in Harry Potter, which I don't know. I'm back and forth on the ethics of book before movie. I think it's a case-by-case basis.
I don't think it matters as much as people say it matters.
I kind of agree, and I feel like if I was allowed to watch Harry Potter without reading the book, I wouldn't like if the difference is either, if I have to read the book, then I'm not going to watch it at all, or like not read the book and watch the movie. I feel like I'd be a bigger Harry Potter fan if I was just allowed to frickin' watch the movie.
Right.
But now I feel like I don't really care because I hadn't seen them, and now I'm not super pressed to see them. So, but the Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone, whichever one you want to use, is just a pretty very well-rounded vibe movie for like Halloween and Christmas. It's both. My only complaint is I kind of have this complaint about a lot of Harry Potter almost all the Harry Potter movies that I've seen, all 5 of them, is I tap out after the first like hour 45 minutes, like first 2 hours. They're really long, and I understand because they're a very long story. There's a lot to go through. But man, the first one is like 2.5 hours long. It's really long. And so I feel like I would be a little more inclined to watch it as a casual fan if it wasn't 2.5 hours long.
Right.
Which is kind of a baby argument. Like, well, I'm glad that those people really love it. But for me, I love it and gave it 5 stars, but also cannot turn it on just for giggles because I feel like I want to watch the whole thing and just don't have the time. Next 5-star movie, and I don't think you've seen this movie, is Ocean's 11.
Nope.
All right. I don't have a lot to say. Essentially, it's just I gave it 5 stars because I can turn it on whenever. And I just really enjoy it, and I've seen it like 5 times at this point. But Ocean's 11 is just a cool guy movie. You just kind of turn it on and they're like, we're going to steal some money and this and that. And so while I can turn it on whenever and it's just kind of a turn your brain off movie, there are points where I'm like, maybe the story could be a little stronger. Maybe the pacing could be a little better. So, I don't know. Ocean's 11. I won't go too deep because you haven't seen it. But that's pretty much the only thing I'd change.
Understandable. That's fair.
All right.
Is that
What do you
my
have
turn
next?
again?
Yep.
Are we just going to go 2 by 2?
We can go 2 by 2.
I guess. Okay.
How many do you have?
So, I've left,
Yeah.
I don't know, like 20, I think.
Okay.
Because I have 29, but like some of those I'm not going to count because some of them are like John Mulaney.
Right.
Like I don't.
Right.
Those are stand-up
That makes
specials. I don't
sense.
really count those. A couple
Use-
others are like a couple Star Wars Visions.
Right.
Like shorts. I don't want to count those either because those aren't movies.
Yeah. You could use your discretion on how many you'd like to talk about at a time.
Okay, I'll do 2 then. So my next one is Jackson's favorite movie ever,
I can't wait.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Woo! Yeah, baby.
what-
a
What would I fix about Sonic 2? I don't know. It's another one I feel like is really perfect. But if I had to fix one thing about it,
I would
I
make
would
him
cut
floss
down.
more.
I would cut down on how much the people were in it.
Yeah.
Because it did feel like there was a chunk in the middle, and I talked about this on a review episode when we reviewed it last year, that there was a lot of time spent with the whole wedding subplot
Yeah.
and
With the people.
the human characters. And I don't think they're a bad inclusion. I just think it kind of like slowed down towards the middle.
Yeah.
And you could have trimmed that down and made it a lot better if you just kept those aspects out of it. Other than that,
That
I
makes
think it's
sense.
a really good movie, and I don't have much I would change. I think the rest of it is pretty solid. The
Okay,
next
sick.
one, and this is the only one that I want to read my review for.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm so
because
nervous.
it's going to drop out of top 5 stars, I think.
So you're
Maybe
going
not.
to remove it from your 5 stars.
Maybe not. The next one
Okay.
is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which, if
It's
I'm
a
not
5-star
mistaken,
movie.
is the only Marvel 5-star.
That is not a
Mhm.
5-star movie.
What?
I'm sorry.
I didn't give Infinity War and Endgame 5 stars, but I gave Shang-Chi a 5?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think
I'm a little
Shang-Chi's a
confused
5-star
here.
movie. I'm a little confused by myself.
Let's
I think I only have one. I only have one Marvel movie in here.
Let's read my review here from September
All right.
12th, 2021. So about 2 years ago. This is when I
Right.
saw it in the theater. I was worried that I was going to fizzle out of Marvel movies after Endgame, but Shang-Chi proved me completely wrong.
Oh.
First off, the action in this movie is insane. Every single fight, from the smallest to the most intense, had me sitting on the edge of my seat. The concept and fighting style of the Ten Rings had me so intrigued, which I still think is really cool. How
Right. I
like they
still
put
think
the
it's pretty
rings
cool.
on their hands and they whip it around. That's cool.
Yeah.
Secondly, the story was also really well told. I loved the use of flashbacks and narration rather than just narration, which action movies tend to do too often. The story also fits really well into the post-Endgame MCU. Thirdly, the soundtrack was killer. It gave me the same vibes as Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, which I also
Yes.
enjoyed. Overall, I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. This is the kicker. It gives me hope that the MCU won't fizzle out in a post-Endgame world.
Oh.
Keep in mind,
dang.
Shang-Chi was immediately followed by Eternals and No Way Home. 2 movies that I did
you
not
hated.
like.
Yeah. That's
Which is
unfortunate,
rough.
buddy.
Followed
I'm so
by
sorry.
what? Doctor Strange, which
Sorry,
I didn't
buddy.
like. Love and Thunder, which I didn't like.
Oh.
And Black Panther, which I didn't see.
Sorry,
And
buddy.
Ant-Man, which I didn't like. Guardians, I did like. And anything else I haven't seen. So that was, I feel so bad for past me. I think I'm going to drop it down to a 4. I don't think it's a 5-star.
4.
I think it's one of the better movies they've put out in recent history.
Agreed.
But I
also,
don't
are they
think
going
it's
to come back? Are they ever going to come back to him?
I don't know. It's a shame because Simu Liu is really funny.
He's
I like
great.
Him. He's a
he was
good
great
actor.
in Barbie too.
I know he said they were doing.
He talked about it.
They were gonna do the sequel, and now it's kind of on hold with all the strikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Who's
So
to say?
I would like to take you through a journey
Uh-oh.
of my ironic 5-star reviews.
Oh, great.
I like to do this thing where if I see a movie that is obviously very trash,
Bad?
just a dumb movie, and I like to give them 5 stars just because I think it's funny. And there's also some of these that I'm like, LetterBoxd really is like the film bro social media, and so like giving 5 stars to these movies feels like it's really funny. So first one is the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat movie, has 5 stars.
No.
That's my favorite Wes
Jackson,
Anderson
no.
movie. And then 5 stars for Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus. That's a banger.
No.
5 stars for the Wizards of Waverly Place movie. That's a banger. Connects with the show well. 5 stars goes to Alpha and Omega, which is a dog movie.
No.
It's an animated wolf
You did
movie.
not give that movie 5 stars.
Have you seen it? Alpha and Omega?
No,
That's a
but I know what
banger.
it is. No,
That's a banger.
Jackson.
I think that's it. That is my no. Also at the top, 80 for Brady was one of my 5 stars. That
Everyone
is
at church was
such
making
a
fun of me the other day
movie.
because they were like, Nick is more of a white woman than most white women. Because we were talking about, we got to like, I was talking about how I look up a lot of baby names because as a writer, I need an infinite source of names, right?
Right.
And in doing that,
Based.
I get a lot of suggestions. So like I go to Pinterest and I save a lot of stuff. So we're at church and they're like, Nick, you go to Pinterest? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you know who uses Pinterest, right? And then I'm like, no. And they're like, white women. Like specifically white women use Pinterest a lot. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I love Pinterest.
Can I just say that Pinterest is the GOAT social media because there is no social interaction on there?
Yes.
Like you can share boards. We can share boards with each other and put pins on there and comment if we want. But who does that? Like I'm just there.
Who uses Pinterest
for
that way?
memes.
I use it to save character inspiration art, like
Right,
writing
exactly.
tips.
That's what I'm saying. So anyway, those are my ironic 5 stars so that I can get through. Next 5 star. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. No, is that
That's-
Fellowship of the Ring?
The first one?
Which one is that? I'm trying to figure out which one this is.
Because it's Fellowship
No,
of
this
the
is
Ring,
Return of the King. Sorry.
Two Towers, Return
This
of the
is the
King.
third one. So, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King wraps up a 9-hour saga very well, very impressively. It's beautiful. I know people, I feel like, I don't know, I can't say because I haven't, but I feel like Lord of the Rings supremacy over Harry Potter. TBH, had to say it. I like both, but you know, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, I don't know if I have anything to change. I
I
feel
have
like
something I would change.
Okay, what would you change?
I'd make it shorter.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
It's way too
Pretty long. I also, here's what I'll say. The originals are long, and the extended editions aren't worth it. I don't know if this is a hot take. People are like, watch the extended edition, they're so much better. I personally believe that the original versions cut out what's in the extended edition for a reason. They did not just cut it out for giggles, and it didn't make the story make no sense. The story in the original makes complete sense, and it's already 3 hours long. And so you can watch the extended if you want, but unless you are a mega nerd that is like super into the books, you're not going to like the extended edition. That's my advice to you. I'll go through a couple other ones real quick. Shrek 2, perfect. Don't change anything. Shrek 2 is a 5-star movie, and no one can tell me otherwise.
I've never seen it, so I can't tell you otherwise.
Have you seen Madagascar?
The first one?
Yeah.
No.
I've
I've seen the second one a handful of times, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you I've only seen the second one once.
Escape
and I've seen the first one to Africa. Just a little peck, boys, like you're kissing your sister. That is such a good movie.
And then the plane just slams on the ground.
The plane just slams on the ground. Moto Moto. Iconic.
Okay, that's iconic.
Madagascar, the first one. I mean, it's 5 stars. What am I going to change? Except... No, that's it. I feel like the pacing is really good in Madagascar. I was going to comment on that, but it's good. Ratatouille is my favorite movie of all time.
We all knew it was coming.
5 stars. All right. I'm trying to think. Do you have anything to change about Ratatouille?
I know what I would fix, but I want to see if you can come up with anything first. You got nothing?
I think here's the thing, and this is a super nerdy thing. The dish they serve him at the end is not actually ratatouille. It's some other French dish, technically, that I cannot remember the name of because it's in French. But it's technically something else, which I felt lied to. But I'm not going to be like 4 stars because they lied about the last dish at the end. But what are you going to change?
I would take out the borderline sexual assault scene where he like goes in for the kiss and she's gonna pepper spray him and Remy's like full sending even harder like just trying to get this to work. And I don't know, I just feel like that sets a bad precedent for kids of like, if this girl you like's gonna pepper spray you, just kiss her. And then like if she's gonna like holds it up, just kiss her harder. Like, no, don't do that.
No. Don't do that. But also,
that's what I would change. I would take that out. It's a bad example.
Rats can't actually cook.
How do we know that?
I feel like we haven't tried.
Have we ever given a rat the opportunity to cook?
I feel like they could if we let them try. You know?
I'd also add some weird little like throwaway line about the neuroscience of being able to be controlled by your hair.
Yeah, can we like get a little explanation on that?
How does he get like the precision? Like, I get it. If you pull someone's hair, obviously their head's gonna follow.
Right, because
like,
you go.
How do you get the precision of their hands?
His fingers and like his. Yeah, it's not really explained, but it's also kind of like
Ratatouille is actually just Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I'm going to assume that was funny.
I'm going to add that to the anime adventure, but instead of watching the Evangelion anime, we're just going to watch the 4 movies instead.
Okay, I'm not
mad. And you'll listen, before the Evangelion fans get mad, they're like, you're not showing him the show. He'd be just as confused watching the 4 movies as he would be the show. It's not like you're missing anything. If anything, the movies make more sense. But by that, I mean they make no sense. So it doesn't matter which one I show him. I've seen them all. And I think Evangelion's overrated.
Whoa. Ooh, sounds like we need to watch it.
I'm just
all
saying.
Right, what do you got? What do
I got? Next is Bo Burnham's Inside, which you might think I don't actually have anything to change.
Oh, because but on contrary.
I do think it is really good.
Yeah.
And it is almost perfect. The only thing I would remove is the song Sexting. Because I don't like that song, and I don't feel like it adds anything to the actual special itself. Right. If anything, I think it's kind of unnecessary because it's the only song that's like that.
Yeah.
There's not another song that's the equivalent to Sexting. So I feel like that needs to go. It's the only song I don't have memorized on the album. I skip it every time I watch the thing just because it doesn't I understand why he wrote it because it is kind of it's the thing that we do now. But I just don't think it should have been in there.
Right. It's unnecessary. I'm the opinion of if the audience has to consistently skip part of your movie, it shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt about Oppenheimer, as I was literally, there's random nudity stuff in here that doesn't add. Nothing about this adds. And so I get that point and I agree. I understand that.
I'm going to do 2 more because both of them I have nothing to change because they're perfect. The first one is, what's the title specifically? Okay. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie, Mugen Train. I would not change anything about this movie. It is perfect.
I have that on my 5-star too.
I'm sorry. You might think Demon Slayer is mid, Demon Slayer is overhyped, Demon Slayer is carried by animation. I don't care.
I don't care.
Say
I
whatever
watched
you want.
it.
I'll come back and fight you on that. Evangelion's overhyped, Demon Slayer is not carried by animation. You guys are just mad that your favorite series is not getting the same treatment that Demon Slayer is getting. And people aren't talking about it, and it's not as popular. I'm just saying. Also, if you want to say it's carried by animation and that's what caused the spike in manga sales, I'm just saying the manga was number 15 before the anime started.
Ooh.
So,
got him.
It was already up there. Anyway.
Get him.
The movie, that arc, they paced it very well, and they made everything flow, and it honestly didn't flow as well when they adapted it as the anime and made it broke it up into episodes. It flowed a lot better as a singular movie. And also just seeing the Rengoku and Akaza fight on the big screen with the speakers.
Yeah.
Take me back to 2021, man. I want to go see that movie in theaters again.
Oh.
So good. Another one.
Rent out a theater. We'll go watch it.
5 stars. Hamilton.
I have that on here
Nothing
too.
I can change about
What do you
Hamilton.
change? Here's what I'll say about Hamilton. Is the first half is better than the second half.
Oh, that's absolutely true. 100%.
And so I feel like everyone is really excited to watch Hamilton until about maybe 2 hours in, and you're like, well,
at that point, you're a half hour
Here
away
we are.
from the end anyway.
yeah, maybe an hour and a half.
I think once you get past nonstop, it
Yeah.
starts to taper off a little bit.
Everyone's kind of like, all right, well, here we are.
That
So
one's
I have
perfect.
Hamilton.
I
on
wouldn't
here
change
too.
anything about it. I love Hamilton.
Here's my next few. Fantastic Mr. Fox, 5 stars. In my top 4
Understandable.
movies of all time. Phenomenal. The only thing I'm not a ginormous fan of is the ending. I don't know. I really like the last scene of them dancing in the grocery store. It is very Wes Anderson thing to do. But I'm also kind of they burrowed into a grocery store? Okay. I feel like that didn't fit the vibe of the movie in a way that all the whole other movie felt different than a grocery store vibe, you know?
Right.
It was a very warm, out in the wilderness type movie. We're underground. We're on a farm, and we're oh, I'm in a grocery store. Okay, this is cool. Which I like the ending, and it's cool. I'm just kind of I feel like there could have been better options for that. It's still in my top 5 movies of all time. I'm just saying there could have been better options. Next on here is Inception, which was my number 2 movie of all time for a long time. I think it bumped to number 5 recently. So, because I had it as my number 2 for a long time.
That's such a drastic change.
Well, I had
Go
it on
from
my
number 2 to number 5?
I mean, so I had it on my number 2. So it was originally my top 5 was Ratatouille, Inception, La La Land, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh,
and then
that's
something
right.
else.
You're weird and think La La Land is a good movie.
Oh, right. So
My bad.
here's my thing. I'm not having this fight with you again. People that don't like the ending of La La Land don't like movies meant for adults. That's what I'm saying. People, here's what I'll say. And I will say this in the not nicest way possible. People that don't like the ending of La La Land don't like it because they have regrets in life. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, I don't like it because I feel like it betrays the movie as a whole. I'm just saying. Just saying.
No. You're mad because it's you. People are mad at the ending of La La Land because it tags themselves. They don't like that.
Here's the thing.
La La Land brings a level of realism to the movie that
I'm a
they
little
don't like.
afraid that I'm going to end up being Ryan Gosling at the end of La La Land,
Right.
where I'm single and alone.
He's literally me.
I could have had hot Emma Stone GF, but no. Now I'm single and alone. So maybe I don't like it for that reason, or maybe I just think it's stupid, and I think the whole movie is kind of dumb. Anyway, continue.
Inception is the first movie I saw. We talked about this on the 100th episode, I think. Was the first movie I saw that really blew me away and was like, oh my gosh, this movie is insane. And so because of that, like, nostalgia factor, it stayed in my number 2 spot for a while. And then at some point when I reevaluated, I was like, I think I like this movie better. I put John Wick as number 2 instead. I was like, I think I like this movie better than Inception. What I would change about Inception is there's a lot of language in Inception, and I forget about how bad the language is until I watch it, and I forget about it. But also, and I know this is the point, and I know it's Christopher Nolan and this and that. It's kind of confusing. And it's a lot to follow. And I think there's a misconception where we say if a movie is a lot to follow and confusing, we say, oh, it's complex and like you just don't get it. And I'm like, maybe it's not good. maybe confusing. Maybe the director doesn't know what they're doing either. I don't think this is the case. I think Christopher Nolan knows exactly what's happening. I've just seen it like 7 times, and I still don't fully get it, which is very impressive, which is why it's staying in my top 5, because that's incredible. But I'm also like, can I have a little more explanation, please? Like, just help me understand. Get me there.
You know what's funny?
What?
The way you talk about Inception is the way 95% of people talk about Evangelion. So, like, Anno had no idea what he was doing, and it's a masterpiece, okay?
Yeah.
If you don't get it, you're just too dumb. It's like the Rick and Morty argument where they're like, you need a 7,500 IQ to understand Evangelion, and if you don't get it, you're just stupid. And I watched it, and I'm like, no, I don't think the guy who made it knows what's supposed to happen.
I think it just makes no sense.
You ask him, like, Mr. Creator of Evangelion, when the angels explode, they turn into crosses. Like, is that a reference to, like, Christianity? And, like, what are you trying to say? And he's like, I just thought it looked cool. And that was it.
Bro.
And that's the explanation.
Respect people that do things because they look cool.
Listen, I think we should do that a lot more. I mean, well, maybe not. That's just Michael Bay.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
Maybe not. All right. Hit me with some.
Maybe you'll like Evangelion because it's confusing like Inception. Who's to say?
I'm an enigma.
Anyway, my next movie is another one. I'm trying to think what I'd fix about this one because it's really good, but it's not. So it's My Hero Academia: Heroes Rising. It's the second My Hero film.
Okay.
I'll be honest, it has a 5-star purely for how awesome the final fight is. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a pretty dope fight. It is really cool. Actually, the final fight in this movie was the original ending that Horikoshi had planned for the series, but then he didn't. And he changed it, so he used it for the movie instead.
That makes sense.
Which I think that's a great way to reuse old ideas, is to just kind of put them in different places where they're not necessarily canon entirely.
They're not gone forever, but they're...
Right. I think the
sense.
one thing I would change about this movie is I really like the villain 9. and I like him as a concept, and I think it's very sad that he just gets used for a movie and then is essentially gone from the series, never to be mentioned again. Which I know anime movies do that a lot when they're not directly adapting something and they're like, well, we need a throwaway villain for this movie who's never going to be mentioned again. The other two My Hero movies did it. It's a trend. But I really liked this one. He had a really cool concept, and I know that concept's kind of coming to fruition with Shigaraki, but I still think it would have been cool to see more of him because I liked his ideology specifically and how he was portrayed as a villain. So that's what I changed about that one. My next movie is Klaus. I wouldn't change anything about that movie.
Dude, Klaus is on here for me too. I freaking love Klaus. Dude. What a banger.
I think it's a 5-star movie. Honestly.
Klaus is just a 5-star movie. There's nothing to change about it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Wow.
Since I had nothing to change, I'll do another one.
Yeah, hit me with
which
it.
is... what's the title? I can't even read the full title. Thank you. Okay, I had to pull up the thing. All right. Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Legend of Crimson. It's the Konosuba movie. It's peak fiction, dude. So funny.
I've
Honestly,
never heard of this.
Funniest anime I've ever seen. It's
Really?
hilarious. I'll get you to watch Konosuba one day. I don't know if it's a Jackson's Anime Adventure appropriate anime.
Okay.
So it might be one we just have to watch on our own. But I also don't know if you'd fully enjoy it because it's one that pokes a lot of fun at pre-existing tropes for that genre of anime. So if you're not... Like, if you haven't seen a ton of those anime, you don't necessarily understand the humor. Mm-hmm. So maybe you wouldn't like it as much.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know if I'd change anything about this movie. It's really funny. It's really good. I don't know.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've seen it. So for now, I'll say I won't change anything about
Tentatively.
it. I think it's good as is. I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
Because the next one is a big one.
Okay.
So I'll let you take another turn.
Okay. I'm going to lightning round a couple that I won't change. The Muppets movie.
True.
What's there to change, bro? Like,
True.
It's just too good. I know every song on the soundtrack, word for word. We watched it recently, and everyone was like, why do you know all the words? Like, what? And I was like, because you have no idea the grip that this movie had on me when I was like 15. So,
this
The
movie
Muppets.
was so good.
And then The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is super underrated.
Every time, I think you're going to say The Secret Life of Pets.
The Secret Life of Pets. I would change nothing except the voice actors. So, Secret Life of Walter Mitty is 5 stars, and I stand by that. But I think there are, because when he's imagining stuff and he goes into like fight scenes and stuff, I think some of the fight scenes are better than others. I will say that. And so the one of him like in the elevator with what's his name? I think it's Ben Scott. He plays what's his name? He plays
Ben Stiller?
The guy on Parks. He's on Parks and Rec. He's the
Ben Schwartz?
He's Leslie's husband.
Oh,
Adam
Scott.
I'm so sorry.
And I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna Google
It's not
it.
that important.
I'll find it for you.
But when he's in it and he kind of like he's there in the elevator, and so it's kind of that one's a little underwhelming. But like other than that, I also feel like this movie could be longer, which is very rare. I usually say movies should be short. Adam Scott, that's what it was. I feel like Secret Life of Walter Mitty could use another 20 minutes. Like I wouldn't mind a little more. It's a crisp like 90-minute movie, which is great. We need more 90-minute movies. But this is one that I could watch for 2 hours or so. Continuing on, the Lego Movie, 10 out of 10, perfect. There's literally
that one's on my list. I can't change anything. Lego Movie.
There's nothing to change.
One of the only perfect movies we've ever made. I'm sorry.
Right, truly.
Nothing to change. Already peak.
John Wick. Do you have anything to change about John Wick? I don't. But I also know I'm a way bigger John Wick fan than you are.
I would add a little more with his wife. Even though
Okay.
I know she's dead, I would have loved to see her and him interact more.
Right. Not just him
outside of
watching
just
videos
that
of
one
her.
video of her running on the beach. Why are you filming me?
Are you filming me? That's what Community calls the
That
dead wife
didn't-
footage.
That didn't give me enough to feel
Right.
like I would care. Like, I cared because it was someone he cared about. It was his wife who's dead.
Right.
But
that's
I
a big
didn't
deal.
see the chemistry between them that would have gotten me a little more invested. Even if it
Right.
was just like 5 minutes at the beginning, 5-minute flashback here, 5-minute flashback, like just little stuff.
Right.
I think would have really helped to solidify that connection a little more.
That makes sense. I can agree with that. John Wick. Inside Out is 5 stars. I recently rewatched that.
I don't think that's a 5-star movie.
That's what?
I don't think that's a 5-star movie.
I think it's a 5-star movie because
I know.
Inside Out hurts me. I cry at Inside Out every time. And
Is
Inside
it
Out.
because you tried to run away and steal your parents' credit card?
Yeah, how did you know?
Well,
As someone that has moved a lot in my life, Inside Out hurts me. The only thing that drives me crazy about Inside Out every time is they obviously have the ability to send memories up the tube because they do it with the gum commercial like every 5 minutes. That's the joke. Send the core memories up the tube. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that was a like well overlooked plot hole. Like, just send the core memories up the tube.
that checks out.
That drives me crazy. Zootopia is 5 stars in my
Another one
opinion.
I know.
I think Zootopia is a 5-star movie, and no one can tell me
I feel
otherwise.
like you're just handing these out.
No,
A
but
movie
it's
asks,
Zootopia.
can I be 5-star? And you're like, yeah, you can be 5-star.
Yeah, why not?
I'm not saying they're bad. I think they're like 4.5.
Dude, Zootopia is 5.
5 stars.
TBH.
It's like, I don't know.
I think it's pretty peak. I think
Let us know in
Zootopia
the
is
comments.
pretty peak.
What do you guys think makes a 5-star movie? Like,
I
don't know.
went home after seeing Zootopia and left a 10-star review on my blog when I was 13 years old when I
I'd
saw
love to
Zootopia
read
in
your
the
blog.
theater. Sometime we can do a YouTube video of me reading my blog because it's on the Internet Archive, and so we can find it.
Nice.
Oh, all right. I have a couple more soon, but you do a couple more.
Okay. Next one. It's a big one.
All right.
My favorite movie of all time. Weathering with You. I put it as a 5-star movie because it's nothing less than 5
I think
stars
it's 5.
in my heart.
Nothing less than 5 stars, but I actually have some stuff to change.
Me too. Me too. Don't get me wrong.
5 stars.
This is an incredible movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should go see it.
I have
It's
it on Blu-ray.
readily
5
available
stars.
for you to see on Max. It's on a streaming service, so it's very easily attainable. And I'm sure maybe we'll do another full episode on
Right.
it in the future.
We should, because it's that
We
good.
should. Jackson's Anime Adventure, Weathering with You. But
Yeah.
technically, we've already seen it.
Yeah.
But I do have a couple things to fix.
Me too.
One, there are a lot of open threads that just kind of get left as open threads.
Yeah.
Like the whole concept of there being another ecosystem in the clouds where there's fish and there's whales because it's all water. And like that whole concept, open thread, never touched again.
Yeah.
Like when we go up to the sky to save Hina, we see the fish, we see the whales, we see the angry like sky clouds that eat Hodaka,
Yeah.
but it's never really touched upon. Another open thread, Hodaka ran away from his home island. Why?
¿Y
Because
por
it
qué?
was suffocating.
Yo no sé por qué.
So
Yeah.
there's another thread, open, didn't touch.
Yeah.
And my issue is that those things were fixed in the manga adaptation of the movie. Makoto Shinkai brings the full point around on the sky ecosystem. We get a lot more behind why Hodaka ran away, why he doesn't want to go back. He has like recurring dreams about it. He has a whole scene
Yeah.
that didn't make it in the movie where he talks to Suga about running away because they have a very shared experience, which is another thing
That's what I'm saying.
that is hinted that they're like, he reminds me a lot of me as a kid, and that was it.
Yeah.
And there's like so much good stuff there. And I know it's really hard when you're trying to fit it down to a movie. There are things that gotta go. And those were the things that had to go.
But that seemed pretty critical.
What about the gun? Like, there was this whole plot around the stolen gun, and it was never resolved. So, like, it's a really great movie, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
But I have to fix those things.
It's kind of like, but stuff like the gun, it's like, okay, that's not necessarily
Right.
important, but I want to know. Like, I feel like you could have told me.
Exactly.
Even just, I don't know. So, yeah, Weathering with You was the first anime movie I watched, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think it was.
I made you watch it because I needed you to be the tiebreaker opinion.
Right, which is good. It's good. It's phenomenal.
It's good. It's great.
It's really good. So, booyah. My next movie, La La Land, 5 stars, baby. Nothing to change about La La Land. That movie is peak. No one can tell me that La La Land is not peak. I love La La Land.
Peak.
La La Land is peak. No one can
It's
tell me
not.
otherwise. Listen, I'm just saying, I have nothing to change about La La Land. And if you can come in here and be like, I wish they ended up together. That's not the point. The point is that they got what they wanted at the expense of their relationship. And so they questioned, is this what I actually wanted? Or did I actually want to be with that person? But it was too late. It was too late. It's peak. That's why he's the GOAT.
You are defending La La Land like I was defending Luke Skywalker last episode.
Listen, I don't know how. I don't get it. I thought you were smart. How is La La Land
Are you calling me dumb?
I'm legitimately at a loss. How?
I didn't. The music wasn't even that good. There's 2 good songs. I'm sorry. There's only 2 good songs. Another Day of Sun and What a Lovely Night. Only 2 good songs on the album. I'm sorry. I said, is this the end of the podcast? You're telling me we can fight about No Way Home?
We
can fight about No Way Home for 2 hours, but La La Land is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
No, here's the thing. It's because you're wrong, because La La Land has 0 skips. There are 0 skips on the La La Land soundtrack.
That's just factually incorrect.
All right, we
That
have
is
to move
false.
on. My next 5-star movie is the only Marvel movie that is on this list. Do you want to take a guess?
Is it an Avengers movie?
It is a movie about a Avenger.
Okay, so it's not one of like Avengers Endgame, Infinity War.
No.
Okay.
Which, thinking back, I feel like Infinity War should be in this list, but I'm
Me
also
too.
kind of still
Not
on the fence.
I don't think people are ready for that conversation. Endgame's
Right.
not as good as you remember. It's
No.
good, but
It's
I
great.
think it's definitely carried by the last half.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway. Can you narrow it down? Is it one of the core 4 Avengers? Iron Man, Cap, Thor, Hulk.
Yes.
Okay, so it's one of those 4.
Yeah.
Okay, that narrows it down. Is it Thor Ragnarok?
It is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I have changes. I feel like Thor Ragnarok was like, it was one of the first Marvel movies I saw where I was like, oh, this actually has an aesthetic. Like, it actually has a look. It's not like superhero movie.mp4. It was like Taika Waititi really knew what he wanted it to look like and feel like, and it was funny and it was engaging. The soundtrack was phenomenal. It was like, the story was great, and then we turn around and do Thor: Love and Thunder, and I was like, what happened? But Ragnarok, I don't have changes. I think the Valkyrie isn't my favorite character. She's never been my favorite, but I also think they kind of ruined her after Ragnarok. So Ragnarok contained as a project, I don't really have a lot of changes. Moving on, unless you have Ragnarok changes.
No, I don't. I think it's pretty good. I probably have changes, but it's been so
Right.
long since I've seen it, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
This is a hot take. I think Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle is a 5-star movie. But I do have changes. Because
Okay.
I think Welcome to the Jungle is maybe one of the funniest movies I've seen in the last decade. Like one of the funniest new movies that has come out. Like I laugh hysterically every time. And it's just it works. Couple changes. I think it could have maybe been PG if they just cut out like a couple parts that I felt like weren't needed. Like it's PG-13 if I'm not mistaken. And there's a couple random like inappropriate parts that I feel like don't add anything. Similar to the Bo Burnham thing. It's like it doesn't add. There's no reason that it's there. So I understand that it's like not necessarily a cinematic masterpiece, but I think the story is really good. The acting is phenomenal. It's hilarious. And with minus those scenes, I don't really have issues with it. I think it's just a fun movie that isn't talked about enough. So, how many do you have left?
Not a lot. I got
I don't either.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, I have 7.
Okay, I'll shotgun a couple.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right, that's one of mine.
It's a 5-star.
5-star.
I don't know what I would fix.
I'm starting to. I'm gonna be so honest. I'm starting to question 5 stars for Into the Spider-Verse.
For Into the Spider-Verse?
No.
Because I know you had a cross on there too, right?
I had Across the Spider-Verse on here at first, and then I bumped it down to 4.5.
So, here's the thing. Into the Spider-Verse was in my top 5 movies for the longest time, and then I rewatched it, and something about it did not capture me the same way it did the first time I saw it, which is what prompted me to give it a 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
So I think actually, this might be a hot take.
Whoa. Oh, no.
I think I'm switching it down to 4.5.
Whoa.
I think it's still really good.
It's
I
phenomenal.
don't think it's a 5-star though. I think it's 4.5.
I'm changing mine to 4.5.
I think it's 4.5.
I'll put it.
I think Spider-Man. Listen,
That
don't get me
hurts.
wrong.
That hurts.
Into the Spider-Verse is great. It's done a lot of great things for
animation.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's done a lot of great things for animation. But I don't think it's 5-star.
5. Oof, that hurts. We're gonna get some comments, but that's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. We're not strangers to getting
That's all right.
hate comments.
Yeah. Sometime we'll do a segment of reading mean comments.
So, the next one, I
right.
definitely have one big thing that I would change. That is really, I think I'm just stealing it from you.
Okay.
And that's Tangled. Tangled, 5-star movie. I think it's one of the best princess movies Disney's ever put out.
Okay.
Am I a little biased because I see myself as Flynn Rider? Maybe.
Yeah, he's literally
But
me.
the one thing I would change, and I think you're the one who brought this up,
Okay.
is take out the exposition at the beginning
Yes.
where it tells you that Mother Gothel kidnapped Rapunzel. And I think if you led people to believe that she was actually, like, kind of put us in Rapunzel's headspace.
Right.
Where we don't know that she's the villain who kidnapped this lost princess, and then you kind of figure things out as Rapunzel figures them out. I think it would make that twist, air quote twist, a lot better, because it doesn't really play as a twist, because we already know she's evil.
Right.
And
But
if you take out
Rapunzel's
that
finding
context, if you take out the context of us knowing, think about the actions that she does, then do really come off as just an overprotective mother who's like,
Right.
well, I usually wouldn't turn to thugs, but she's with a thug, so like,
you're like,
I'm gonna manipulate these thugs.
Right.
And then she goes and is like, am I the lost princess? And she's like, uh-oh. My control is slipping. Time to go a little crazy. So I think if you took that and took
it
that
would
off
be
of
a
it,
more enjoyable experience. Yeah.
yes. Now, do I think the movie is unwatchable with that? Of
course
no,
not.
Not by
Of course
any
not.
means. I think it's fine that they put it there. And I think you still could have had the exposition, because I know it's there to mainly give more exposition on the Sundrop flower as opposed to anything else. Because you have to set up, this is the flower, this is how Rapunzel's hair got that power, now we're here.
Right.
So
That makes sense. I can agree
I
with
think
that.
it's fine, but it would be a nice thing to change.
I can agree with that.
I'll do another one I'll do two more since you have less than me.
Yeah.
The one of the 2 5-star Star Wars movies on my list.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Okay.
I think, I don't know what I'd change, man. It's so good. Like,
Can I be TBH?
I don't know.
This one is 4 to 4.5 stars for me.
For you,
I-
see, I don't think that's that egregious. Because you're still
Right.
acknowledging that it's
I'm
one
still
of the better
acknowledging how
Star Wars
phenomenal
movies.
it is.
Right.
But I also saying that it's peak Star Wars is a little strong.
Okay, how do you not... What do you mean it's not peak Star Wars? It redeems the
Whoa.
entire prequel trilogy
Whoa.
and aptly sets up the original trilogy, which is already peak storytelling. So, like, you're adding peak on top of peak.
Okay, well, I feel like the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan is the best part of that movie. It
Absolutely.
wholeheartedly,
100%.
wholeheartedly, phenomenal. And then outside of like that and a couple other scenes, I'm not super invested.
What?
Yeah. I feel like, so here's the thing. The first half of Revenge of the Sith, I'm a little lost. It's
What?
not until the second half that I get fully into it. Have to be honest. The second half of Revenge of the Sith is really, really good. The first half loses me a little bit.
Wait, you telling me you were lost during one of the greatest space fight scenes?
The opening is good. I like the
all
opening.
cinema?
I mean, thinking
Are you
about
telling
it,
me you get
Here's-
lost
here's
during
what
the
I'm saying.
tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
he does like 4
And
evil head turns in
Palpatine's
one conversation.
Slow. What's the word I'm looking for? And
Descent?
Palpatine's slow manipulation of Anakin to the dark
Here's the-
side through
here's what I'm
manipulating his
basing this.
emotions.
Here's
You're
what I'm
telling me you're
basing
not
this off of.
invested in
Here's what I'm
Anakin's
basing
recurring
this
nightmares
off
about
of.
his wife dying?
Here's what I'm basing this off of. I remember the beginning and I remember the end. I could not tell you what happens in the middle. I could not.
Bruh.
I was also
Telling me
never
you're not invested in Anakin finding out that Palpatine is the Sith
Maybe
Lord, but
I'd
not
be
telling
invested.
anyone?
I'm invested, but not like enough to. I could not tell you what happens in the middle of that movie. I haven't seen it in forever.
It sounds like a you problem.
Okay, maybe it is a me problem, but it's not on my 5-star list.
You know what I would change?
What?
And unfortunately, it's not something that can be changed because of the order things came out. I would have liked to see the Clone Wars have a little bit more influence on the movie.
Yeah.
Which I know is hard because the movie came out before the Clone Wars was even a glint in George Lucas's eye.
Right.
So having, especially Clone Wars Season 7, which does take place or part of it takes place simultaneously with Episode 3, of like in the like 4th to last episode, the beginning of the Mandalore arc, you see Ahsoka meets with Anakin and Obi-Wan again, But towards the end, like the middle of that episode, they're like, why can't you come to Mandalore? And it's like, well, we got to go save the Chancellor because he just got kidnapped by General Grievous. And it's like, oh, that's the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have loved to see those two things kind of tie together a little better. But I also know they can't.
Right.
Because
it's physically impossible.
They do, but you can't have that connection in the movie. It has to be in the show. So it's one of those things like, it's fine. As is. I'll excuse you thinking, like, not being entertained. That's a you problem. It's not any fault of the movie. That's just you being dumb. Moving on.
You know,
a movie.
Big talk from someone that doesn't like La La Land.
Genuinely would not change anything about this movie. It is perfect.
Okay.
Objectively, the best Christmas movie of all time, The Polar Express. I got nothing to change. But people aren't ready for that conversation. This is the best Christmas movie.
See, Polar Express was on my 5-star list with when I had like 80-some, and I bumped it down to 4.5 or 4. I don't remember. I took it off my 5 stars because I have a lot of Christmas movies on here that I skipped over because we don't need to talk about them because I don't have anything to change. So I did Christmas Vacation, but I also have Home Alone, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and Elf on my 5-star list. And those are like my S-tier Christmas movies, like Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Grinch, Elf. Those are what I have to watch. And then that's my S-tier. A-tier is like Polar Express, Christmas with the Cranks, like that kind of stuff. And so that's just...
No.
That's just my opinion. I didn't grow up with Polar Express.
It's an S-tier movie. 5 stars. Nothing to change. Perfect Christmas movie.
My only thing to change is, did we ever get an explanation of like the ghost guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't think it. It's one of those things. It's like,
yeah.
It's a magic train. Don't think too much about it.
I'm looking at the rest of my list, and I don't know if I have any of them that I would change left.
I have one more that I would change.
I have Jojo Rabbit, which the only thing I would change is I would have wished that I could be less emotionally wrecked by it. But, you know,
point?
That's the point, so I get it. We talked about Klaus, we talked about Hamilton, we talked about Demon Slayer. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great movie, phenomenal. Rewatching it, it was a lot more cynical than I remembered. Like, I feel like it was a lot more depressing recently when I rewatched it. And I used to, I kind of forgot about that. And so I think, that's the point. I get it. But I think the worldview is a little hard for me to grasp onto. Even though it's a very impressive movie. Nope. 5 stars. It changes genres 6 times. I think that was my favorite movie of 2022. Phenomenal. 80 for Brady. Changed nothing. 5 stars. I only have 2 more. I'll just go ahead. John Wick 4.
I have 6 more.
You have 6 more? You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Little teaser.
I mean, you already said John Wick 4. You might as well just...
All right. I'll just
You might as well just finish.
John Wick 4, phenomenal. Currently the best new movie of this year for me on the tier list. But I'm also just a ginormous John Wick fan.
Haven't seen Love is War the First Kiss Never Ends?
So, John Wick 4 is one of the most impressive action movies I've ever seen. But I also can understand the argument of they're a little high on their own supply. And it was just John Wick at an 11 to the point where you're like, this is a little ridiculous. This is a lot. This is a lot. It's a long movie, so I get it. As a John Wick fan, I was I live for every second of it, and Mr. Krabs is in it, and I love that for him. And so, 5 stars for me, but I understand if you would want to tone it down a little bit. That's what I'll say. My most recent 5 stars, which might be subject to change as I rewatch and recency bias wears off, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which 5 stars as I left the theater, thinking now it might be a 4.5-er.
This is what I'm saying. You give out 5 stars way too frequently and then change it. That's why I give stuff 4.5. Because the 4.5 is like very close to 5, and it still acknowledges that it's a really great movie. But then I don't feel bad about stripping the 5-star banner. It's like saying, hey, you are Miss America. And then 6 months later coming back and be like, actually,
we
no,
changed our mind.
You're not. Like, why take it back when you can just tentatively be like, I don't know how I feel about it yet?
I just get really excited. And I'm like, that was so good, 5 stars. And then like a week later, I'm like, 4.5. That's what I did with Barbie. Barbie was 5 stars for a long time, and I just bumped it down to 4. Because I'm like, yes, What?
You fought me last episode for Barbie being 5 stars, and you changed it
To 4.5.
to 4. We've established on this episode that's a very big difference. 4.5 and 5 stars.
That's my bad.
Next, you're gonna tell me Oppenheimer is a 10 out of 10.
No, it's not. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think. I don't know if I dare say it's the best animated movie I've seen this year, because Spider-Verse was really good, and I need to give it its respect. And so, I don't know, but I think it was kind of underrated. Flew under the radar. Phenomenal movie. Highly recommend if you need like a good family movie, or even like if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, like go for it. So, those are my 5 stars, and I'd like to say I'm proud of myself because we started this episode and I had 82 5-star movies on my LetterBoxd, and I currently have 38. And so
welcome to a more realistic number.
I slimmed down my 5-star reviews
by 50%.
I'm proud of myself.
Good job. All right, I have 6 more.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't have a lot to change about any of them.
Okay.
1, Finding Nemo. 5 star. I mean, it's Finding Nemo, man.
I would say 4.
What?
But that's the personal call.
The only thing I would change is maybe not have Nemo's mom get killed by a barracuda at the beginning. That seems really dark and a really hard way to start the movie.
Yeah.
Like, Nemo. I get it. There's the trope. People can't have issues, and there's no story to tell if people have both parents alive.
Right.
Someone's got to be dead.
Right.
So
exactly.
I get it. But also, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I struggle to find something to change.
Right.
Because it's such a good movie.
Right. That's okay.
Now, onto a movie I would absolutely change nothing about. Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
Perfect movie. I would dare say
I respect that.
It's the best movie Disney's ever made.
I respect that.
I'll die on that hill. I don't think people are ready for that conversation. I think it's the best movie they've ever made.
I think that's respectable.
Another 5-star Disney movie, Toy Story 2.
2. Ooh. Interesting.
What would I change about Toy Story 2?
I would put Jesse's song, make it way less
I would put
sad.
Jessie back in the box.
I think
Just
she
kidding.
should have gone with the prospector.
I think we should have seen Japan. Can we go abroad? Yeah. These last ones are really hard.
Because they're like 5 stars for a reason.
Right. Like, these are the actual 5 stars. The next one is Toy Story, the first one. What do you want me to change? The animation looks bad? Like,
right.
yeah,
like
it came out in the 90s.
Whatever. Right.
Like,
Get out of here. What do you want from me?
Another one. I don't think we've ever talked about this on the podcast.
Okay.
I think this is the first time this movie's ever been mentioned. The Princess Bride.
Oh.
I think that's a 5-star movie.
I wholeheartedly agree that Princess Bride is 5 stars. I'm kind of surprised that's never came up.
It's such a good movie.
I feel like that's a universally like 5-star movie that
right.
like everyone
how do you
agrees
hate
that
the Princess Bride.
Right. Huh. I guess
It's
we
so
haven't
good.
talked about that.
Got nothing to change. Bought
Wow.
that one. Now, last one. The other 5-star
Star Wars. All right.
Star Wars movie
All right.
is Star Wars Episode 7. Just kidding. It's episode 5. Empire Strikes Back.
That was close.
I was gonna juke and say The Last Jedi, but then I said 7, and I was like, wait, that's the wrong one. The Last Jedi is 8.
Wait, no.
I'm pretty sure I have The Last Jedi at like a 4.5.
Yeah.
It's not a 5-star, but
That's
it's pretty
okay.
close. It's up there.
We don't have time
Empire
to get into
Strikes
that.
Back. I don't know.
Dude,
It's my
good.
favorite Star Wars movie. It's such a hard movie to talk about.
It's iconic.
Because it's so good.
Yeah.
There's nothing, like, I got nothing to change.
What do you want me to say? I literally watched it this week on Laserdisc, and I was like, bro, this is it. This is
my God.
this is good. This is it.
Okay.
What?
I'm going to make a lot of people angry.
Okay.
So I went and looked at my Star Wars movie ranking
Oh gosh.
that I haven't changed in 2 years. I'm going to go
Okay.
through and watch them all again and reevaluate my list. But as of right now, my number 1. Here's my top 5 Star Wars movies. A little bonus
gosh.
segment before we end
Okay.
out the episode. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Okay?
Yeah.
Number 2, Revenge of the Sith. Cool.
Okay.
Number 3, The Last Jedi.
Ooh.
Number 4, A New
Ooh.
Hope. Number 5,
Oh.
Solo.
I
Actually,
think you
I'll
need
just
to
keep going.
revisit
We're
this
already-
list.
We're already halfway through. Number 6 is Rogue One. Number 7, Return of the Jedi. Number 8, The Force Awakens. Number 9, The Phantom Menace. Number 10, Attack of the Clones. Number 11, The Clone Wars movie. And number 12, The Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
Anyone shocked?
That list
I will
needs to be
defend The Last Jedi
reevaluated.
being my number 3. Because here's the thing. It's my
right.
personal
You can believe
ranking.
that. You can believe that. That's okay. This is America. I won't
Do I
judge you,
think
but
it's
they
an
will.
S-tier Star Wars movie? No. I think it's
No.
an A-tier Star Wars movie, though. I think
I think
a
it's-
lot of people look down on it.
I think it's B or C at best.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I can't wait
well,
for us to come back to Star Wars. We have
I
a
think
whole
we
slew
have a whole
of Star
plan.
Wars stuff
We
planned.
have a whole plan. I also
We're going to
think
get there eventually.
it's so weird that like the 5-star movies is what has made us disagree the most. Like we've disagreed a little bit like this year on stuff, but like I kid you not, The Last Jedi is in my letterbox right now with a 2-star review.
What?
2 stars.
The Last Jedi
It has.
is
It's sitting
the
next.
opposite.
It's The Last Jedi is sitting next to my Venom review at 2 stars.
What? It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
The Last Jedi is the inverse equivalent of Barbie.
There's also There's also something to say for a lot of these reviews that I gave. I just haven't seen these movies in a long time, so I can't defend them
Right.
with my life because I really don't know what I would think if I watched it now. And so it's hard because it's like it's hard to fight about this stuff when I can't really say for certain, you know, because it's been a long time. So anyway,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up.
I think that's it. That's
That's
us
all, folks.
fixing our favorite movies. That is wild.
That is wild.
And if
They're
this
fixed,
episode does
though.
really well, maybe we'll do like fixing our least favorite movies and go like from 0 stars to like 2 stars.
Oh gosh.
Because let me tell you, I only have one movie rated as half a star because I can't give it a 0. Do you want to guess what that movie is?
Let me see. Dude. I can't even think.
The only movie that I have listed as half a star on LetterBoxd,
Okay.
if I like filter by rating, half star
Yeah.
is The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. I hate
That's
this
good.
movie with a burning passion.
I only have 2 I have 0 half stars, but 2 1 stars. I have The Secret Life of Pets 2 was 1 star. And then the live action Lion King was 1 star because I was pissed that they made it. And I was like, we don't need a live action Lion King. And I was really upset. And I gave it 1 star.
King a 1 star.
Oh, that's good.
Man.
Well,
that's an episode right there.
Here we are at the end of the episode.
At the end of the episode. This is wild. Well,
it's crazy.
Unless you have anything else to say.
I don't. I really don't.
I got nothing.
I feel like I'm exhausted now.
I think it's time for us to go play Fort.
I'm exhausted now.
Well, if you want to stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Not X, Twitter. With the links in the description. And if you like what we do and you want to support the show, you can check out our merch or join our Patreon and get exclusive benefits, including a monthly bonus episode and behind-the-scenes content, which, by the way, the first episode of what we're calling the Nerdiest After Show is now available. Available now. Like, you subscribe to our Nerdiest Max tier, and you can watch a 40-minute episode of us talking about... What did we talk about? I already forgot.
Was it like our favorite mobile games? Like growing
Yeah,
up?
we talked about like our favorite mobile games.
It's casual.
My Minecraft gamer YouTube channel background, all kinds of stuff.
Just fun.
And we're going to have a new episode every month.
Wow.
And you can have access to that by joining the Patreon, which, speaking of which, I want to thank Bearded Mana for being a part of our Nerdiest Max tier. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot, and it helps us to keep the lights on here and continue making the show that you all enjoy. But if you're tight on cash, as we all tend to be sometimes, the best way to support us is by leaving a 5-star review and sharing the show with a fellow nerd or someone you think might enjoy the show, because the word of mouth is the best way for us to grow. Now, we'll see you next week. Not next week. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Sorry.
See you in the
we'll
next
see you
episode.
next time, next episode, to talk about stuff and things, because we don't really know yet.
We don't know
so,
yet. We'll be there,
said, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye.